We're back with Mitch D'Olier, President and CEO of Kaneohe Ranch and the Harold K.L. Castle Foundation. Mitch, can you continue telling us about building a Victoria Ward and your plans for getting it where I guess you foresaw it in those days?
Carrie, I'd be happy to do that. Let me say two things. Life's a team sport, okay? You were really kind when you did the introduction and you said Mitch did this and this and this. Mitch was captain of a team or coach of a team that worked really hard together and accomplished a lot. That was first true at Hawaiian Airlines, second true at Victoria Ward. Nobody could do Victoria Ward by themselves. And there were a huge number of peoples that made gigantic contributions, and I'd have to list them all. But in the beginning of a job, and the first thing I'll tell you about Ward was, this was the first time when I was CEO. When I was at Hawaiian Airlines, I was chief operating officer. I was in charge of operations, but I was only in charge of operations. There were pieces that I wasn't in charge of. And I'd said to myself, if I was going to take a management job again, I wanted a job where I could be CEO, where I could be in charge of the operations. Because when you're on a team, you're responsible for everything that happens, whether you're in charge to make those decisions or not. So I did want to make those decisions. And so in the beginning, I had to build a team. And picking the right team is gigantic to ensuring success. So first, develop a business plan. Second, engage your team. Now, there's a final thing about Ward that was really important, and it was my first major league experience up close and personal working for a philanthropist. I was blessed in my life to have known Maud Woodhouse, who owned a majority of the shares of Victoria Ward Limited. And because I had been her lawyer before, I knew something that's public now that wasn't public then, and that was the money was going to go into the community. Because Mrs. Woodhouse and her husband had made a decision that that's what was going to happen to any money we made. So I always knew deep in my heart that what I was doing was going to endow a lot of very important Hawaii institutions. Quite frankly, that made me want to fight to make sure we made money a lot more than if it was just like shareholders get the money, all this kind of. So I knew and I was around a philanthropist. And I've realized when I've seen, just for example, Bishop Museum or a Kindergarten Children's Aid Association stabilized by gifts from Mrs. Woodhouse's generosity, how important philanthropy is to our community. So all those pieces were in play at the beginning at Ward.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.